Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be learning how to write inequalities given verbal statements. The good news here is that writing inequalities has the basic same concept as what you would if you were writing just a normal algebraic expression or an algebraic equation. Okay? So what we'll need to do here is when we're given that verbal sentence, we'll have to identify the parts of this inequality in order to put it all together into the inequality statement. So the different parts are, well, first we have to have that unknown, that variable. Okay. Now, there can be an instance where we don't have a variable. For example, 5 is greater than 7, in which case I would just write 5 greater than 7. Okay, so but the ones we're going to be focusing on right now are going to have an unknown or a variable with them. Next thing we need to identify is any given values. Okay, if I say 5, you need to write down that number 5 because it sounds like it's a pretty essential number to that statement. And last but not least, we're going to have to identify and understand keywords that go along with inequalities. This is where it will vary. Okay, so the keywords are going to help us in order to figure out which math symbols we're going to use, and possibly in which order as well. So if I'm doing an addition problem or subtraction problem inside of an inequality, I need to know those keywords as well. So the keywords for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, those all still apply. Good news is you already have been encountered with those. You already have encountered those. Okay. So all we really need to focus on here is these keywords for the inequalities. Now, just a refresher on inequalities, there are 4 different kinds. And go ahead and write this down if you haven't done so already. Okay. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to help you speed up that to help if I'm going too fast, okay? So our 4 inequalities are less than or equal to, greater than, and greater than or equal to. Okay, 4 different things. So rather than having an equal sign like we would in an equation, inequality statements have an inequality. So one of these 4 symbols in place of that equal sign. Just like the equal sign, addition problem, subtraction, multiplication, or division, we have other words that we can use rather than saying specifically less than. We could say it's fewer than, or it's under or below. Okay, so all of these words are basically synonyms for the actual mathematical inequality symbol. Okay, so they can take place of those symbols at any time. Right. Assuming you've paused and finished going through this key bank, we're going to keep going and get some practice in. All right. So what I have here is a little chart, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this verbal statement. We're going to identify those numbers, inequalities, and variable. Okay. We're going to identify any related terms. So what that means is up here in this bank, what synonym could I replace that's in here? Okay, and what does that synonym mean? For example, in this one here, we have, it says, to be allowed on a children's ride at the fair, a child must be under 50 pounds. it tells us that we want W to be the weight of the child. So that right there is going to be our variable. Okay. Any other numbers we see 50 pounds right here. And then our key words. So we go up in this bank, and what word do we see here that could replace a word or is a word in this bank? We see that keyword under. Okay. So instead of under, what could I say? Well, I could say fewer than 50 pounds. I could say below 50 pounds. So those are some replacement related terms. Okay. So what symbol are we going for here? We're going for this symbol, and what's that symbol's meaning? That is the less than symbol. So in this chart, we're really working with synonyms of these key words and how to identify the inequality symbol before we write this statement. Okay, so now the child's weight must be under 50 pounds. We need to write it the way we read it. The weight is under, which means less than 50 pounds. So W is less than 50, and that's how you would write it. Let's go on to the next one. It says the speed limit is 70 miles per hour. Let S represent the speed. Okay, so the speed limit may be 70 miles per hour, but we don't have to go exactly 70. Okay? Good news is we deal with this one on a daily basis, so it should be pretty easy for us to represent this. We see 70 as our value. Here's S, our variable. So where would that key word be? And the key word here is limit. Okay, so what other related terms could I use other than limit of? Okay. And one thing I could say is, you know what, my speed cannot exceed, or the maximum speed, okay? So after you think about that for a little bit, you can come up with some synonyms of the word speed, the speed limit. So the maximum speed is 70 miles an hour. That makes sense. What does that mean? That means right here that our speed limit, whatever we're going, needs to be less than or equal to that value. So our inequality is less than or equal to. Our variable, that's S, representing our speed. So our speed needs to be less than or equal to 70. And when you get done, just to make sure it makes sense, why don't you read it? Speed less than or equal to 70. That makes sense because I know if I'm obeying the speed limit signs, then I am going either 70 or less than 70. Okay. Why don't you pause the video, try the rest of these. Let me discuss them with a neighbor and then come back. All right, here they are. Now that you've tried them on your own and you talked with a partner about them, go ahead and check and see how well you did. Again, you can pause this if you'd like. And here are the bottom ones. Okay. Uh-oh. Please wait, please wait. If you have any questions, communicate with another person in your class to see if they might have the answers for you. Where are you? There you are. Okay. And then go ahead and get started. Again, you can work together. Get started on your assignment. It looks like this. It's an entire page of this graph. All right. Good luck. Thank you.